Okay, so this is a map concept that I currently am building. It is called Blockstar Depths, and this is only the lower structure, so this is only the lower part. You can see there's a big staircase to the medium part, and then there's going to be another staircase to a higher part. I'm going to tell you why in just a second, but first let's explore the structures of this whole thing. You can see the map is pretty big. It is pretty open, but it's actually also pretty close off. You can push people off to the acid. You fall through the acid. You kill yourself. Eventually, you fall through, and you go and die in the void. There's 3 of these houses, and each of them has 4 spawns within them on all of the corners. Let's go and investigate some the other 2 houses, see if they do have the same. If they just have the spawns in corners, simple. You can see there's already a spawn in the corner over there, and there's 4 of these as well, all of them in corners from both houses. You can see there's the 3rd house. This is actually the first one that I built, and you can see it also has 4 spawns in the corners. So all these houses, they're basically copied houses. There's nothing else done within them. Then the second structure, let's investigate this tree part. It has 2 spawns. The trees are very miniature. You can see it's on the map itself. Why is it so green and everything? Because it's been eaten up by the acid. There's a concept I want to have this map be. You see it has 2 spawns. It has a base with the grass. It has 7 trees, and yeah, there's a ton of these lamps. And they're all different colors. Dominant or the dominant lamps are the yellow ones. You can see, but there's also other colors, so it doesn't feel like it's repetitive. Let's see, there's like pink, red, brown, white, and almost um, like black to an extent, I think. I'm not sure, I just did it random colors for a ton of these lamps because I just thought it would be way too repetitive to have all these lamps be yellow. So here's the bird structure. It is a graveyard, and it has also 2 spawns. Why did I build a graveyard? It's just to fit in with the theme of basically death. You know, it's without any kind of life because of a certain reason. It's like super near the acid. You can see the only things that are not corroding or are dead is basically the roads. You can see the lamps are corroded as well, except for the lights. Here's just graveyards. Kind of, it's supposed to represent people who died because they fell into the acid. I mean, that's kind of how it is. Now, let's go to this one. I'm gonna leave for later, so let's go to the tower over here. You can see it has corroded metal too. It has a spawn, and there's a lava. This is good for sniping scripts, you know, just typical sniping scripts, same for that. But the thing here is that some scripts, this might be better or worse, I'm not sure. I think this one is better. It's just a simple tower. You can see these are two places where you can shoot people with your long-ranged projectiles or hit scan. This is the lower structures are probably pretty good for melee because you can push people off, and also pretty good for long range. I mean, this is pretty balanced of a map. People can get here. Not all scripts can catch you though. Melees probably could kill you. So probably my favorite of them all is this lantern tower over here. There is an entrance you can go through, and there's a staircase. So go up the stairs like this. There's 4 staircases, you know, there's 1 staircase, but there's 4 patterns. Each one is rotated differently, so you know, you just that kind of staircase up here. So first of all, you got a chair. It's also been eaten up by the acid for a specific reason. You got a spawn, and you got a cup of acid. Yeah, this is a cup of acid that you will be able to not be able to drink. This is really not really interactive. This is just a decoration. You got spawns. You got wood as well. That's just holding the roof. Lantern that is turned on, and a ton of these lamps are here. But first, let me show you that you can actually fall through the acid and kill yourself. So you can see it can kill you. Hope I can spawn near the staircase. I spawned pretty far away from it though. So this is gonna be good with faster scripts, because it's kind of like you're not really gonna be able to catch up. But there's of course medium and high structures in the, but of course they're not implemented yet. This is only the 1/3. You can see there's this big staircase you can go through, and it's also filled with lamps. You can see, go up these stairs and you can see this map has very tall walls. But this is only the medium structure. You can see it could be a map of its own, but I'm just kind of doing what I want. I just want big, cool concept map. So this is where the road ends. This is where the medium part starts. Now, what I'm telling you is why there's 3 structures. There's 3 structures because every single like 3 minutes or something, I'm thinking about, or no. So the map normally starts, you know, the typical loading screen. It just starts as a map where the lower structures still persist. But as the timer goes to about 7 minutes, it will start, the acid will start rising all the way up to this part over here, where the lower structure is no more basically, and then it starts medium structures that is almost covered with acid. So lower structure is unplayable, so some metas and places will change depending on the timer. So the beginning of the map, you know, most likely going to be using this is most likely going to be using both melee and both long range. I mean, kind of medium. This is a very balanced map because you can use knockback is probably the best on this, because the chances of having someone die in the acid is pretty high. You know, it's actually very high. Chances of survival are kind of low. You know. And now you got the spiral staircase, you know, it just goes like this, starts here, here. So, you know, I'm telling you, it covers all the way to here. And then, you know, if you go down here, you're there's supposed to be a certain script playing, so you eventually get bounced by the acid. So, you know, in the original Super Smash Brothers Melee, there was a stage called Brinstar Depths where the acid would bounce you up back to the stage, but could also kill you. So I mean, that's kind of true. If you got hurt in a specific time before you just went to the acid, you would get force field and you would be bounced back up to the medium structure or the high structure, depending on what time it is. And then after the timer reaches how many, 4 minutes or something like that, about 4 minutes, then the acid will start rising onto the staircase up to the high structure. So basically there is an environment in the low structures, the medium, and that is kind of medium is basically half alive and half dead, and then you get the high structures is when it's alive, because it can't be caught by the acid. You know, the low structure is where everything is dead. The medium is where half of them are dead and half are alive, and then the high structures is where everything is alive. There's stuff like fountains and I don't know, actual towers and stuff such as that. Kind of a cool environment. And I would also like the map to be set in nighttime, because I think it works the best when it's nighttime, and maybe even have the lamps produce light. So, you know, they produce light because they're lamps. There's a ton of light around the map. And I'm not sure if there is shadows when it's nighttime. I mean, I don't have commands to set this time period into night. I mean, I could use like I don't know, just a random admin command art, which just gives me access to these. This is some of the creator, but just didn't think of that. I just thought of maybe using this raw place, you know. This is only going to be used for a Skirmish 2. I'm just kind of feeling like, let the developers make the acid rise, and just kind of feel like I want to help this. I want to make more variety within the maps, because the maps are actually pretty boring a lot of the times, and just making the acid rise in this would just make the map more interesting. Just kind of probably the most interesting map in the game, you can see it's big. It's just really big. It's a ton of unused place is here. You can see there's a ton of these lanterns. You're gonna be able to boost from. This is probably yeah. There's some things that are still needed fixing, such as these lamps. They're positioned in bad places. They're not positioned perfectly. So I mean, I'm pretty sure a ton of these are not positioned perfectly, but like most of the time it doesn't really make a change, you know. Like this one is not positioned perfectly. I mean, that's fixable. So please, please, if you were to put this thing somehow, remember this is only the lower structure done. So 1/3 of the map is done. Really, there's way more to the whole thing. Have you given me any ideas on how I can actually improve the thing, or how I can actually build the medium structure? Because I've just kind of been thinking what I can do with it. This really didn't take that much time. I mean, it took about like I don't know how many hours to build. Like, just kind of get the hang of the idea. Yeah, I've mostly been trying to make. I mostly made up in my mind that the acid will rise, and that's kind of how the map works. You can see there's very high walls within the map. It has the highest barriers out of all the maps. If it would actually be there, it would have the highest barriers. So flinging people off would be hard when it comes vertically, but horizontally it's just kind of easy. Wall bounce would be pretty good on this, I'm pretty sure. Actually, I'm not sure. Boost lanterns would work, and these houses and graveyard is useless, staircase useless. This house over there and tower with the lantern, and then normal tower. And there's nothing that much I want to talk about this, because everything has been covered. I mean, it's just when the timer hits 7 minutes, it would rise to the medium stage. Then when the timer hits 4 minutes, it would rise to the high stage, and you just have to disable the spawns on each stage when the asset is covered, and make it so when you were hurt in like I don't know how many minutes. If you got hurt, then eventually if you got hurt in like 2 seconds, you know, then you would get force field and you would go back up to where the asset is, and eventually if you didn't get out in a certain time, you would start getting hurt. So that's kind of how my perception of the thing is. The map used to be way bigger, but I just kind of thought this one is too big. You can see it's already big as it is, and it already seems like it could be a map of its own, but I'm just kind of thinking no, because it's way too undeveloped, you know. You can see this one is half of a block imperfect, and the others, this one is also imperfect, and the others probably also imperfect in some ways. So this does require fixing, you know. I'm pretty sure it took me about, I don't know, 7 hours, because it just felt like getting the ideas of how much stuff is supposed to be there just kind of never really done maps before, so I mean that's kind of the best I can do. And I really would like the map to be in Skirmish too. I mean, just kind of add more variety. Just kind of a cool concept of acid rising within the map's boundaries, of course, and just other concepts would be cool too. I mean, the new map, Isle of Origin, I kind of feel like is kind of made pretty fast, and there is some detail in there, but there isn't really any cool concepts within any of the maps. It's like kind of a boring fighting game. Right now, it's like you can't really fight with anyone because there's no one in there, and it just kind of feels boring. And I know the music for the map, and I just kind of put it in the links down below, is in the first 3 minutes, the music would be Brinstar from Super Smash Bros. Melee, and then you get, whenever it rises, um, from the medium to the high stage, it's just basically, it would be Brinstar Depths playing instead of Brinstar. So I mean, the first 3 minutes would be Brinstar, then to the end of the map it would be Brinstar Depths. I think that's a pretty cool way. If you can actually make the music switch, then I would be grateful. It would just kind of seem cool to be able to send this, but I'm not sure how I can send it. I mean, I'd like to contact these people on Discord or anything like that. Twitter, Discord, whatever. Just kind of send this map so they can use it, and I'm giving them full credit, you know. I'm giving them full credit. They can use my map however they want. I mean, just please fulfill my dream. Please make this so the acid rises. That's just my main reason. And I'm just kind of feeling like there could be a lot of these maps that has certain liquids arise, like let's say lava or water, and just kind of the feeling it might be a cool game mode on its own, because it will just kind of switch the meta a bit in some cases. Like let's say, you know, you normally get on these kinds of maps, you normally get where you can fling people off, you normally get melee, but since the acid rises, it's just kind of bad for slow scripts. And I'm pretty sure scripts that kind of normally suck would be really good, like acid. Oh my god, what am I saying? Like Aether Ring, because you can ascend all the way up to the barriers, and it can really just escape without having to climb the stairs. It would be able to escape the boundaries. So I'm just kind of feeling like there could be more of these maps that have liquids rise just for the fun. It would just kind of make the game less boring, more fun to play, you know. I'm not really thinking that the map deserves some kind of secret script, but if you do want to put anything here, then you can put it. Put it in the cup of the acid, and you just click the cup, and you'll get a secret script, whatever you want to do with that. So I mean, that's kind of it. It already took a very long amount of time to be able to say this, but like, it's a specific concept. I'm just kind of feeling it would spice the game up a lot and make it more interesting. So that's it. I guess that's goodbye. There's links of the group, the game, and the music for the map below. So I mean, you can do whatever you want. I would actually tell them later that I want to use it. Use the map for the game. So that's it. Goodbye.